Okay, is this recording?
Should be.
Okay.
Lights.
Camera. Woo! That actually helps.
Like for the...
Yeah, 100%. You've actually done me a solid.
The reason
Because
they
we
do
never
that.
do that.
Yeah.
We never do that. I look like I'm quite far over. So hang. Alright. Here we go, we're underway.
Rugby.
And today we're also doing all sorts of questions.
I haven't seen the questions.
I have briefly seen them. I saw them as I was putting them onto a piece of paper.
I had a look through the comment section, but I do not know which questions you have.
It's a lot of
chosen.
Personal questions about you, Mark, potentially, and your love life. Medical history, sexual transmission of diseases history, STD history is basically what I was trying to say.
Isn't it STIs now? Isn't STDs kind of old hat?
Is STDs like non-PC?
Probably.
Even my diseases are non-PC.
Diseases don't like being called diseases. They're only infections.
Oh, so disease has a bad connotation to it?
Maybe. I don't know.
Oh, I can't take this.
I know.
I got a disease. All right, well, I don't know whether the world's going crazy or I'm just getting really old.
You're probably just getting old.
Maybe a bit of both.
Probably. No, I think if you were 18, you would be fully on
I would be. Well, I was as left wingers come when I was 18. I really was.
Exactly.
But now I'm not.
I voted for Helen Clark because she was going to take off the student
Oh
loan
yeah,
interest.
I don't think I always voted Greens.
Oh god, that's
Greens.
another step.
That is
But
another
the Greens
step.
back in those days was like Jeanette Fitzsimons.
Yeah,
and,
there was a bunch of hippies.
Yeah, basically.
Really, and it was all about the environment.
Yeah, it was the
you know.
Environment Party. New Zealand politics. What a way to start a rugby podcast.
Speaking of New Zealand, though, there's Super Rugby starting. We're going to talk about that.
You were really aware of that.
I had no idea. This is a rugby podcast, and you'd think that the people on the podcast themselves would actually have a clear idea of what was happening in the rugby world.
It's still summer here in New Zealand,
It is.
so I feel like it doesn't quite feel like rugby season's supposed to be getting started, but it's been like this for a number of years now that we get Super Rugby. It's been starting earlier and earlier for
I don't
a long
know,
time.
maybe it's the weather, like with the floods and the cyclone, that's kind of caught us off guard.
Maybe.
We're like, oh, rugby?
Yeah.
Like, I've caught a little bit of some preseason stuff. But
I haven't seen a minute of the preseason.
Oh,
I've seen the
really?
results, but I haven't been...
I've seen a little highlight.
I've been burned too many times. Like, I used to go to the Blues, like, preseason games at, like, Alexandra Park, where they got their training facility. They would do, like, a game of three halves kind of thing, where the Blues would play the Canes.
20-20s. Or,
like
yeah,
that, yeah.
30-30.
And, like, the Blues would do really well, and I'd be like, yeah, we're on fire. We're going to... And then, like...
I had a different picture in my head when you said that you've been burned at those games. For some reason, I had
Sunburn, maybe.
Sunburn.
I probably did get sunburned in the middle of summer.
For some reason, I had like young Mark on the sidelines, and for some reason, like players were coming by and like shouldering you and like saying,
Get out of here.
Get out of here, square eyes." I thought they were being mean to you or something. But you just mean that you were invested in the form.
I was invested in the form of preseason.
It's a fool's game, though.
It is.
That's a fool's
Don't
game.
put any faith in the preseason. Doesn't
Exactly.
matter. Doesn't matter a damn.
Does not matter a damn. And as Chris Rock says, you know what Chris Rock says? There's no love in the champagne room.
Okay.
Do you know what that means?
I'm vaguely aware.
Oh, okay, great. I don't have to explain it to you.
Yeah,
That's great.
Let's just slide on by.
It's a good thing because this is on your channel, and when it's on your channel, we
try to keep it a bit.
We've dropped a few more F-bombs in your things, which I usually bleep out, like this.
I like to think people by now are aware when they see the video coming up, the thumbnail, the title, like
it's not going to be the
if it's not your cup of tea, then it's not your cup of tea.
And that's okay.
I leave that for people to make their own minds up. That's
100%.
fine.
100%. How liberal of you.
Oh.
Yeah.
People are grown-ups. Well, maybe they're not, but they can look after themselves. You watch what you want to watch.
Some people are children. They're not grown-ups.
That's right.
Yes.
Not everyone's
If there's
a grown-up.
any children out there, hello to you, alright? Have a good day, you. Okay, I'll stop.
You're the one who
I'm
has
the
to
one who
edit this
edit
out.
these beeps.
Yeah. Tony does all the editing.
They're a pain. They are a pain.
Tony does
There was a few episodes ago. It was on your channel. I was like, I'm not gonna swear at all. And you ripped in. You were like, how the f*** are you going? So I was like, just every single word. I was like, oh, this is
more work.
Yeah, exactly. Oh,
Yeah.
well.
So Super Rugby does start this weekend. Like, from my feeling of it being here in NZ, it's kind of low key at the moment. Like, even my dad, who's the ultimate New Zealand rugby fan,
Yeah, I'm
like fully into his, like, you know, club rugby, Mitre 10, or not Mitre 10 Cup anymore, but NPC, like even he's not like sending me messages saying like, oh son, Blues are playing this weekend. It's still pretty low key.
Yeah, because there are years where you're like, there's a bit of a hum, there's a bit of a buzz, but I think New Zealand's just been through a real bit of a shift of late that people. Yeah, you surprised me. You said Super Rugby starts this weekend.
Yeah, you're like, not this weekend.
Like, what?
Yeah.
What? Holy moly. Because today I didn't think we were going to be talking about Super Rugby at all. I thought we'd talk about the Welsh fiasco. Fiasco. It's a fiasco! I apologise about that. Fiasco?
Yeah,
Fiasco.
Fiasco.
I've always struggled with words like dance and arse. And fiasco. Wherever you have to say, look, my daughter says dance.
Oh no.
Or ass. Well, she doesn't say ass.
My sister-in-law says tomato.
Tomato
instead of tomato.
Well, let's throw the whole thing out.
Exactly. Potato.
Yeah, that's right. All right, where were we? We're talking about
Super Rugby.
I thought we were talking
Wales.
I thought we were talking about Wales.
Wales's fiasco.
Yeah. I don't understand it, and I wanted to come to you to tell me about it. Maybe we'll get to a little bit of Super Rugby. Okay, what do you want to talk about? Anything in Super Rugby?
Well, I mean, other than the fact that Super Rugby starts this weekend.
Okay, who's going to win? The Crusaders, probably.
Probably. The Crusaders are probably going to win.
5 years in a row.
It's definitely Razor's last season in charge of the Crusaders. A number of the Crusaders guys are leaving. I mean, multiple teams are losing guys at the end of the year. So if there was a year for the Crusaders to kind of have a new hunger about winning it again, it would be the fact that for some of these guys, it's going to be their last.
It's like the last dance.
Have you seen that?
I have. It's brilliant.
It's good. I'm not into basketball at all, and I ate that thing up.
Yeah, I like basketball. Okay. And that was... Yeah,
Too many squeaky shoes.
Really? You wouldn't like squash?
Yeah, no, squash.
You wouldn't like tennis either, really?
Not really.
Oh, what other is squeaky shoes? Comment below with
squeaky shoe sports.
Squash is one.
Yeah,
squash is a lot of squeaks. Yeah. But basketball's very squeaky too. Big men squeaking.
There's a movie coming out about the whole Nike thing with the Air Jordans. I saw an ad for it. How... Nike back in the 80s or whatever wasn't the kind of top dog that it is now. No, part of their thing was they got him with Michael Jordan when he was still not even debuted in the NBA. Yeah. Yeah, they made a movie about it.
Well, apparently they offered that deal to get the Air Jordans. They offered that to Magic Johnson first. It was part of another TV series that was on recently, and Air Jordan, and he turned it down and he went with Adidas. And they worked out what those projected sales would be, and he lost out on like $4 billion or something stupid.
Ouch!
Yeah. Well, maybe $4 billion, but a lot.
A lot of money.
A lot.
I'm sure he still did all right.
Yeah, I think he's okay. Don't worry about Magic Johnson.
No give a little page.
No. Yeah. He the only do you remember him getting HIV? This is not a rugby podcast at all. I was just about to go into his HIV diagnosis back in the day.
So Super Rugby starting this weekend. The Crusaders are the favourites. The Blues, most of the New Zealand teams are predicted to do pretty well. The Aussie teams not so much.
Yeah.
Moana Pacifica, the Force and the Rebels and whatnot are supposed to be bringing up the rear.
Yeah.
The Waratahs have got a few good siders. You remember Nemati Nandolo? He's going to be back in Super Rugby. Yeah.
Really? Big boy. Yeah, he's a
big unit of a man.
I thought that the last time I saw him was a couple of years ago, and he just looked like he was a few paces gone.
He's been playing in the Premiership, and he's still been just such a tank of a man.
He's just big.
He's huge.
Yeah. Has he still got the pace? He's got...
I mean, not as quick, but many people struggle to tackle him.
Yeah, we couldn't tackle him.
I couldn't tackle Brad Weber.
No, neither could I. He looks nuggety.
Nuggety halfback.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's back. I had a point, and I thought to myself, that's something you could say, Tones, a little while ago.
Super Rugby.
So what I didn't like about it last year was the Highlanders got into a quarter-final, and they had won only 2 games. Was that last year or the year before?
I think that might have been the year before. It all blends into some rich tapestry of rugby.
COVID rugby period. Yeah, it wasn't the greatest. But last year I was really disappointing because I was really into that Blues team.
Yeah.
I followed them
We had a home final.
We did. You went along.
I went along. We still managed to lose it.
I was really optimistic. We finally got a win in with this, we you know how we shoe hill on him a lot of All Blacks content. It'll just turn into a lot of Blues content with us.
Basically,
Yeah. We managed to get a win in Christchurch for the first
time in forever.
It's like 2007,
something like that.
Something stupid. So yeah, it'll be. Look, I'll enjoy watching it when it starts. It's a nice little surprise.
Yeah.
But I was not at all. I really don't know who's been in great form in the preseason or anything like that. I'm just looking to see who of our All Blacks are in form, who comes out the gate, and if there are any bolters. I guess that's basically
one thing they've said is the All Blacks guys, because one of the problems Super Rugby has had, especially in New Zealand, which some would argue has kind of devalued the competition, is the fact that the All Blacks guys have often been withdrawn from some.
Yeah, especially in a World Cup year.
Especially in a World Cup year, the All Blacks guys kind of get rested. They're not allowed to play too many games. And it just sends the message to the fans that, yeah, you don't really need to worry about Super Rugby because the All Blacks games are still to come.
Yeah.
But I believe they're not restricting the All Blacks as much as they have done in the past.
Well, no, I haven't heard that. That there's that rest and rotation, or they have like reconditioning programs.
All that kind of stuff.
They used to have like the first month off.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was under Graham Henry. That a shocker.
Yeah.
Remember the rest and reconditioning program?
Yeah. It was a bit of a stinker.
That was a stinker.
So supposedly we're going to see a bit more All Blacks in action, which is certainly good news for the comp.
Before they all leave.
Basically,
I heard Rico's leaving as well.
Is he really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Rico's is going to another Japanese club.
Oh, God.
I know. Who's going to be left?
A bunch of youngsters.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see who Razor inherits. You know?
Right. Oh, for the All Blacks.
Yeah.
Yeah. See what you did there. Yeah. Leon McDonald's been linked with Scotland. To replace Gregor Townsend after the World Cup.
Who? Oh, really? That's a nice little pickup.
Yeah.
Who is the assistant coach who used to be the assistant coach for Scotland? Used to be
Brad Moore.
That was showing that he wasn't the problem.
Fozzie. Looking at you, Fozzie.
Suck my dick, Fozzie. Don't suck my dick, Fozzie. I don't mean anything personal. I just don't think you're the best coach in the country.
That's true.
Yeah, don't suck my dick.
Yeah. Just in case you were
he comes on, he's like, drop Trout, Jones.
It is time.
So well.
You've got to get a tattoo of Fozzie something.
There's a lot of conditions that aren't going to happen for that.
Okay. So, anyway.
I remember we had that conversation in our very first podcast about the conditions for that. And you know what you did? You put a little card for that video. Never done that. You've never done that for any of my cards. For the one time you did.
Yeah, Tony's got to get a tattoo of the All Blacks win the World Cup, and that video you made about the All Blacks.
The video about Fozzie needs to get 75,000 views. When I think it's on not that many.
I'm going to just refresh.
20,000 views, I think. So, and they have to win the World Cup too.
Okay.
And one of the reasons that I wasn't really aware was I was balls deep in Scotland and Ireland content. I made a video.
You made a video, yes. It popped up in my feed on the way just before I left to come here, and I was like, oh my goodness.
See, hopefully there's a card there. Did you look at it? There's a card.
I'll link to the tattoo video.
Same shit.
You're gushing.
I was gushing. That's basically it. It was a very weird video. One thing I realized about my content, you know how yourself and other content creators make videos about the teams?
Right.
I make videos about myself.
This is why I like Scotland.
Yeah, exactly. I just my relationship. I guess it's this perspective.
Yeah, Tony's 2 cents, eh?
Yeah, with Tony's narcissistic channel. Basically.
Nice. But yeah, Super Rugby getting started. Long story short, New Zealand teams, big time favourites. Aussies not supposed to do too well. Fingers crossed, at least one of the Aussie teams has a good step up. We got Larkham back in charge of the Brumbies.
And what about the Drua and Moana Pacifica?
I think in pre-season the Drua have actually looked pretty good.
Yeah, right.
Although one of their star wingers, Habosi, from last year got cut.
I hear he's like a Fijian flyer, that guy.
Yeah, but I think he got cut from...
he's a Fijian winger,
Yeah. He got cut from the Drua because of off the field.
Oh, naughty boy.
Yeah, unfortunately. So.
That's no good. Oh, well.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to hear that.
That's a bit of a downer.
You've really spoiled the
Great player.
Gone.
Maybe not greatest off the field.
We all make mistakes, Mark. We all make mistakes.
Nobody's perfect.
Damn, I wanted to get these questions out. I really did.
Also, the MLR.
No, I don't want to know about the MLR. I don't care. Who gives a shit about...
I didn't watch any games yet, but the Jacks, the Free Jacks.
Hand Jackets.
They won.
Oh, thank God.
They
New
won.
England, yes.
Yeah,
Come on.
So they won. I did see the results, but I haven't seen any of the games yet, sadly. But they are free to air on the Rugby Network, not sponsored. But if you want to watch Ma'anono, 40 years old, still playing some rugby.
Woo.
Yeah.
You can watch with another 6 people.
There's a bunch of guys like, Cara Pryor, former multiple, I think, Super
What
Rugby
happened to
teams.
the Beast? Wasn't he a part
The
of it?
Beast, he was there for
Beast
like a
is
season,
retired now,
but he's
isn't he?
retired. So, yeah, there's a bunch of kind of former Super Rugby guys who are still floating about in the old competition. Hugh Roach, one of the Aussie guys, is still there.
Is it bad when someone says floating about? I can't help but think.
No, you don't go there. You don't go to your toilet habits. Thank you. It's a rugby podcast. You and your floaters.
I got a story though today.
So, questions.
Can I tell you my story?
Warning, what you're about to hear is probably not ideal for children. Skip forward at least about a minute.
Again, it makes me sound like a prick on multiple levels. It makes me seem like some sort of, I don't know. So, whenever we have cleaners that come to our house once a fortnight, right? And they clean up, which is great. It's great to have a cleaner around. They're lovely
you're
people.
Injecting some money into the economy.
Exactly, they're wonderful people. But whenever they get here, it's always like Pavlov's dog. Like, they arrive, and I don't need to shit the whole day. But as soon as they get here, I'm just like, oh, I need to go. I need to push one out. Today got really bad.
Your brain is like, I need to get value for money.
No, but I don't do it. I just sit there. I was so bad today. I was like, so much pain. I drove down to the petrol station.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to take
didn't want to take a shit. Because they were like, yeah, it's bad. Anyway, that's a non-related story.
Chap, Tony.
Yeah, thanks, pal. But we have questions. But
do you want to get into Wales before we go with the questions?
I don't know what's going on. So the regions, no one's happy, no one's getting money.
My understanding of it
They're very sad
is
over there.
Basically, a lot of the regions have, I think, been told, because they get some of their funding, I'm not sure if it's all of their funding, from the WRU. And they've kind of been told, hey guys, we're going to be tightening the purse strings for next year. And a lot of the clubs are like, oh shit, we're not going to have money to pay all you guys who are currently under contract.
Yeah, right.
So a lot of guys are
professional guys?
Yeah, fully professional players. It'd be just like if, suddenly New Zealand Rugby said to the Super Rugby teams, shit, we need to cut the budget by 20%. And all the Super Rugby teams were looking at, oh God, we're going to have to let some people go. Wales have got a 60 cap rule in that if you want to play for Wales, you need to be based in Wales. Same way we've got the rule for players in New Zealand, except if you get to 60 caps, you can go abroad and still be eligible. So that's their rule to try and keep the talent in Wales, but they're looking at potentially scrapping that. So these Welsh teams can kind of let some of the big names go to open up some financial kind of space.
Young superstar, you could be going from...
One of the guys, that guy Joe Hawkins, who played in the last 2 rounds of the Six Nations, he's just signed to go to Exeter, which is in England. So, it's one of their... He's only 20 years old. He's come through the academy. He's one of their products that should be, signing a 3-year deal with... I think it's the Ospreys. He's leaving. So, yeah, they're already feeling the effects of it.
What is the shortfall in cash about, though? Was it...
I think it's all... maybe potentially
COVID-related,
COVID-related, maybe a bit of mismanagement with some money going into projects other than players.
Do they get decent crowds, decent sponsorship? They love their rugby in Cymru.
The regions haven't had the flashiest attendances. I mean, I watched a couple of the games at the weekend. Cardiff seemed to have a pretty good crowd, but there's often games where you'll switch on and be like, ugh. Not the greatest. Sometimes looks like the old Super Rugby crowds, but Super Rugby crowds are often played in 20 or 30,000 seaters, whereas this isn't in a 10,000 seater, and it still looks kind of sparse. And the teams haven't been doing that well, so when teams are doing poorly, you don't get the kind of fair weather fans, right? You only get the diehards in.
Exactly. I've been to a few North Harbour versus Manawatu games, and it's like. This isn't a crowd. This is a focus group.
This is like parents and
exactly
family and friends, basically.
This is smaller than a first 15 game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's a real shame. And if they can't hold on to that talent, and hopefully the common sense prevails and they find a way to hold on to the talent, retain a really positive competition. Yeah. But have some flexibility so guys can still represent their country, but make it decent.
It seems like the highest risk guys, because Alan Wynne-Jones and Warren Gatland had a press conference about it. It seems like the highest risk guys are kind of like the fringe players at these the URC clubs. So the big name guys have obviously got no problem finding work. But if you're some third string guy who only gets a game when there's other people injured or unavailable, then
You're
are the
squad member.
Yeah, basically, if you're a squad member, you're maybe the first guy to maybe not get his contract renewed. But if they scrap that 60 cap rule or reduce it down to like a 40 cap rule or a 20 cap rule, some of the maybe bigger contracts can go play in France or play in Japan, like we get with the kind of sabbaticals things here. Maybe open up a bit of space. But then the flip side of that is you don't get your big name Welsh players playing in Wales, so maybe that further hurts the regions, right?
And the teams get worse as well.
Yeah.
Which,
so
it's
a bit of a catch-22.
That sounds like a really rough situation.
Not good.
Yeah. Wales Rugby, eh? Just one challenge after another.
It's a bit messy.
Oh, God, and I feel bad. I took a couple of shots at them and made...
One thing, also, they've had the old Netflix crews filming this documentary. Apparently they've just been told to f*** off, basically, by the Welsh...
Like another beat.
Yeah, f*** off, basically. The Netflix crew have just been told, f*** off.
Stop it!
They're not giving them access to, like, the team meetings and the trainings and stuff, so... That's not going to be ideal. Which kind of sucks, though, because
I think Gats expressed some concern about that right off the bat. He said, "I worry that having them around is going to show my players and my management in a bad light, or show them have bad character." A lot can be done with editing and all that sort of stuff, but I don't know. I think. Like I was watching Full Swing, which is a Netflix one, like Drive to Survive, what's a Formula One.
Drive to Survive was the interesting one.
And the Full Swing's really good too.
I watched the first season of Drive to Survive, and I noticed within like one or two episodes, like, where's McLaren? Where's Ferrari? Like, where are the two biggest teams in the sport? Two of the biggest teams. And they weren't there because Netflix didn't have access to them in that first season. But the first season was so popular. Second season, guess what?
They're there.
They were there. So I would be surprised if the same didn't happen.
I remember there was like...
You don't want to be ignored, right? Get the attention.
100%. And also you've got to understand the current climate that we're in. And like these types of documentaries are a way for fans to get step closer and for them to engage with it.
That's right.
You know, and brings us a huge amount of new interest. You know, whether things are going terribly or going really, really well.
Exactly.
Like, have you seen that Ryan Reynolds and
they bought that football club.
Welcome to Wrexham.
The attention, man, it's just gold.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, for me as an example, I haven't watched Formula One since like freaking Michael Schumacher days.
Yeah, right.
But with this upcoming season,
you're into it.
Like me and I want to watch it with my boy. Like now I've watched all the drivers for 5 seasons. I know some of the new drivers. I know the teams. I know kind of where they're at. It just got me back into 100%. The sport. Well, so
that's what Formula One is. It's all when you're in it and you're watching it and you follow it year to year. It is a soap opera.
That's right.
You know, and you understand the minutiae, read everything about what's going on. But this was just condensed it and just made it all just so concentrated and juicy.
Yeah.
And that's what blooming, and I don't think anyone walked out of that with looking awful.
No.
Like people
they didn't do a hatchet job.
No. And I don't think I don't know what production company within Netflix was actually going to be doing it or anything like that, but because things can go wrong within. I used to work in reality television. Believe it or not, I did. I used to find the talent. You know what I got told by one of my executive producers?
What's that? Find
us dumb, pretty people we can take advantage of, basically. That was it, and it was like
pretty ruthless.
Had to quit. Yeah. I was like, this is not a good environment.
Yeah, well, that's not the impression I got from any of the Netflix documentaries.
No,
like
I
we
think
talked about the Michael Jordan one. We talked about Drive to Survive. They've been pretty even-handed from what I know about them.
Yeah.
So I can't imagine they would be doing a hatchet job. They'd probably take the angle of Wales being up against the wall, and
I think even if this thing comes out, I think they'll edit it in a highly dramatic way, and it'll be compelling.
Yeah, but that's good.
They get kicked out.
People who maybe haven't watched Wales or their local regions for a while might get back into the game.
100%.
I don't think it's a wise move, personally.
No.
But what do I know?
Yeah.
I'm just some dude sitting in theatre too.
Well, you are. That's where we are. You've doxing me. So it's great to be out here in Henderson North. All right, so that's the state of affairs with Wales.
Yes.
I think we really cracked it there. I don't think we came up with any good solutions. I feel quite down for them, actually.
Yeah, it sucks.
It really sounds like a nasty, shitty situation. But to commemorate Wales, I thought I'd get my red binder out.
We asked people in the last podcast, which is also available on Spotify and Google
Podcasts, iHeartRadio.
If you want to listen. We asked for questions, and we got a good response.
Look, so how am I supposed to read that one?
You printed that pretty small.
Why did I print that so small? Wait. they can't see that, but like some of these are a decent size, some of them are not. So these are your questions. Thank you so much for all the people who gave us questions. I'm sorry we got a lot of questions. Not all of them are going to be covered, but I grabbed a few, and I didn't really do it like, oh, that's a good question. I just kind of was like, oh shit, Mark's coming around. I better grab some of these questions. So if you wrote a really good question and it's not on here, I apologize. It's not because it was a bad question, but anyway,
because you suck.
it's just because that's exactly right. It's because I suck. So just be mindful of that.
This guy.
Yeah, him.
I'll stop.
Okay, all right. Stop it. Stop the f***ing swearing, okay? Okay, so our first question was from Phil Coffey, okay? Question
Phil Coffey?
Yeah, Phil Coffey. It's spelled Coffey, as you can see there.
Okay.
A question to discuss. Do you think Ireland are once again peaking too early in a World Cup year? Also, is Caelan Doris the best rugby player in the world right now? Cheers, men.
Nice.
Thanks,
well,
buddy.
he's certainly in phenomenal form.
He is.
I would find there's a number of guys who you can, argue till the cows come home about who's the best player in the world right now. But
would you take?
Would you take Dupont? Would you take Xavier? Would you take Doris? I think Doris is playing better than he did last year, and he played pretty bloody well last year. So
he's a world class player.
He's in the conversation.
Yeah,
he's
100%.
definitely. It's not definitely like he's closer to a yes than a no. Anyway, it's not a ridiculous question. So that says a lot.
I think out of all the players in the world right now, you're fanboying hardest over Caelan Doris.
Yeah, he's magnificent.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We have got the full frame at the moment, so just be careful on those arousal levels. We're talking
about Caelan Doris carrying and tackling, and he just does it all, man.
He does do it all.
It's
what about the first part of this question? Was
Ireland peaking?
Are they peaking too early?
I don't reckon they are.
I don't think they are either.
If anything, you could maybe make that argument about France more so than Ireland right now, because France's results haven't been as resounding as
especially that result.
Ireland's ones.
It'll come out in the wash in terms of how Italy go in the rest of this tournament, as to how bad that first game was.
Yeah,
really.
for sure.
Because that was not a game that people were expecting to be that competitive.
Yeah.
But in terms of Ireland, if you go back to, it's because I've been balls deep in Ireland a little bit recently. I looked back on the 2019 results. Yeah. I think they lost handily to France and to England.
Yeah, it was. I think the opening game was against England in Dublin, and it was kind of like, I remember, because based on Ireland's 2018 season, I was fanboying hard about that.
And they just come off
that Joe Schmidt, that era, and I was like, man, nobody's going to beat Ireland this Six Nations. And then they just didn't do well. They just seemed to get figured out. Yeah. They played their cards
as opposed to this year. They've just come out with just the sharpest precision, and just done everything with such a high degree of composure and belief.
They seem very adaptable as well. Joe Schmidt seems to be a bit more rigorous in his gameplay and more defined, whereas these guys can play a bit more heads up rugby. They're not under as kind of strict instructions, seemingly from my viewing of it anyway.
But if you're an Irish fan, which I presume some of you are definitely Irish fans out there, there's a lot to be excited about. I said in my video, I know it's in France, but they're my favourite for the World Cup right now.
The only thing I look at with the Irish going for the World Cup is just the mental factor of the whole quarterfinal thing. That's the biggest roadblock for Ireland. If they can get over that hump like the New Zealanders had to with 2011, although we were at home, but still, you know what I mean?
And you're not going to be given a Japan or an Italy or an Argentina. Like, Argentina are a tough team to play, and they can beat anyone on their day. But you're not going to get somebody who's pushing to be in the top 5 or even top 8. You're going to get one of the 3 best teams in the world.
That's right.
So that's hard. That's as big as your final.
Well, if you're going to win a World Cup, man, you
got to win those games. But that's the sort of game you expect in a semi-final, not a quarterfinal. But it's almost like it's kind of like they've got the boss level at the quarterfinal.
Straight up.
Yeah, it's hard. All right. Okay. This next question. Thank you. Is from Cathal Healy. Cathal Healy. Cathal. Interesting name.
Any relation to Cian? Cian Healy?
Tell us below, Cathal.
Didn't you say Cian wrong once and you got corrected about the pronunciation?
Cian. Because I read my stuff off of AutoCue.
Right.
And sometimes it just... And it was a Cian Healing and they're like, what? God, it just had... Yeah. But it was great for the algo. People
I don't mind getting the name corrections. I get them wrong as well.
Yeah. Is Joe Schmidt going to bring the ABs back to their best for the world? I get best form for the World Cup, I'd say.
I think Joe Schmidt's got a good role with the All Blacks in that he doesn't have to run the show.
He's not the head coach.
He's not the head coach, but he does what he does, and he's got the most kind of analytical brain in world rugby. So if there's a coach who can look at an opposition team and work out a way to beat them, that's probably, that's his forte.
Absolutely.
Sometimes the thing I worry about with the All Blacks is the All Blacks can take a little bit of that arrogance and we're going to play our game, and we're going to win. And it's not as kind of flexible. Like, being a Kiwi and our two main sports being rugby and cricket, I've always watched like our cricket team who've never maybe had the same skill levels as other teams, but they would do the research.
Yeah,
they would like find this batsman likes to play this shot. This is the way we set a trap for him, kind of thing. Whereas the All Blacks have just kind of been. You've seen sometimes interviews with them where they've been like, "Who are you worried about the opposition team?" I think remember they asked Brodie Retallick once, and he was like, he got the name wrong. He said someone.
They're barely even aware.
They don't even know who they are. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so I'm hoping it's changed a bit.
And I remember Brodie Retallick said about Mario Toje. He said, "I'm stoked about Mario Toje. It's great to have someone who's decent to play." Which is an interesting way to kind of look at it. But the All Blacks sort of, there's all sorts of mantras with the All Blacks, so it's not exactly a mantra, but one of their things is just worry about yourselves. Right. Worry about what you're doing, what your task is. Get that right. The guy next to you get it right. We are the world's best players. If you do your job, it's easy.
Yeah. But I hope with Joe Schmidt there, he can bring that analytical edge and, just prep the team for, how best to beat the opposition.
And things got better.
Yeah,
things got better.
There was a market turnaround with the coaching changes and Joe Schmidt's influence on the team, I think, for sure.
But we still lost to Argentina. We still had a close call against Japan.
Yeah, not
There's still
products.
massive question marks around the All Blacks.
But they're tracking the right direction. So,
are they?
Yes. You heard it here, not first, but
you heard it here. How about that? Okay, Ruth Sodden. Sodden, that's a good one. Sodden is sort of like, it reminds me of being very wet.
I was just thinking the same thing.
You're like, oh, you're sodden. Anyway, Ruth, thank you for this. Since you wanted, I actually haven't read some of these. Since you wanted random questions, what animals best align with different rugby teams by style of play? Great question, Ruth Sodden. Love that sort of stuff. So let's start with the Japanese.
The Japanese.
I would something small, agile, and nimble.
And lots of energy.
I'd say a meerkat.
A meerkat?
Yeah.
Okay.
A meerkat, but like ferocious. A ferocious meerkat. Okay. But like 600 of them, essentially.
Okay.
Like in their own way, powerful.
Okay.
I'll throw some other names at you.
What in New Zealand then?
Oh, what in New Zealand? I'd say
sexy beast of an animal.
The camel.
2 humps.
One for both of us. No, I wouldn't call him a camel. What's a fast? A black panther.
I was thinking Black Panther, so maybe it's just all black.
Yeah, exactly. We're not that
like
creative.
Sleek,
Yeah.
Precise.
Effective. Don't waste energy.
Yeah.
Do everything with purpose.
Yeah.
But also lose to whatever the Irish animal is. What would be the Irish animal? I felt this is not true, but the first thing came to my mind was a drunk pig.
What the hell?
That's not your style of play. I think it's just. I was like, Ireland. What's an animal for Ireland? I'm Irish, by the way.
Yeah, 75% according
75%
to the DNA test.
12% Scottish. Fully Gaelic, well, very Gaelic, very Celtic, I should say.
Okay, I did one of those a while back, but I can't really remember. It was all UK, Ireland.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Pretty much nothing dramatic.
You seem very connected to your heritage.
Be expected.
What do you mean? What would have been dramatic? Oh my God, he's Pakistani.
Yeah, exactly. That would have been a bit random. Well, my grandmother would always tell this story about how we had this like American Indian like great something, and I was like, even as a kid, I was kind of like, that seems like bullshit.
Did you say that? You say, sit on that and spin, Grandma.
No, I didn't say that. But, yeah.
Was this your grandma who also told you about how your dad tried to have sex with her? Is that the same grandma?
Eh?
No, they met.
Oh, yes, it's the same grandma. Yeah, it's the same grandma.
Podcast? That was one of our earlier podcasts. Right at the end of
She's a doozy.
we tell a great tale about that.
Yeah, Granddad didn't like that.
Sorry.
Neither did Mum. They actually came back and gave me some feedback on it.
Sorry, Morgans.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry to relitigate that.
That's actually
tale.
quite a hard question, the whole animal association thing.
Okay, well, I've with Australia, I would go with a dingo.
Is that just like name an Australian animal?
But they're fast.
Okay.
They're not particularly reliable.
Not that threatening.
But
they can take away a baby.
They can steal a baby. For the South Africans, I would go with
a bear or something.
Yeah, or some sort of wildebeest.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're actually associating the land with the animals that live on that land.
I think it's appropriate.
Okay.
So Wales, I go a dragon. They're not real. Wales, I would go like a homeless man about to shit himself to death.
Next question.
Okay. Oh, look at the size of the font on that guy.
I wear glasses, man. You're gonna have to.
Okay, how am I gonna read this? Great pod, lads. Thank you very much. Oh, I should say his name first. Desert Croft. I don't know if it's Desert Croft or Desert Croft. I always get it mixed. How do you spell dessert and desert?
Dessert's got 2 S's.
Okay, thank you. All right. Okay, great pod. Question. Would you like a touring... I can't believe I can read this. Would you like a touring side a la the British and Ireland Lions to take on a Southern Hemisphere players? Basically...
With the Southern Lions team kind of thing. That comes up a lot. Like, what would a Southern Hemisphere British and Irish Lions style team look like? You know, best players from... I think it's usually Australia, New Zealand, and South Africa. We don't really get Argentina in there because they don't do the Lions tours.
Yeah, right.
So, I mean, that would be awesome to pick.
Just before we dig into this one, you know what I'd love to see? The British and Irish Lions
To Argentina?
No, play France.
Oh, yeah.
I would really like to see that at the moment.
At the moment, yeah. In the past, when the French have not been that great, it wouldn't be as
I think that would be a hell of a series.
The thing with the Lions is always the whole cohesion thing. You get all these great players, you put them together, they got no game time together, it doesn't work as well. It doesn't work as well as you think it should work.
And then it's just about trying to gel them
as much as you can, shoehorn it in kind of thing.
And then just getting it for those couple of last tests.
That's right, yeah. That's always the challenge. So, and they keep shortening the bloody tours as well. Like the old tours used to be huge.
Yeah. Well, they need time together, don't they?
But there's no game time.
But I think it's such a fun concept.
Oh yeah, it'd be great.
It really is. But I don't see it ever happening.
No, there's no spot in the calendar for it. They struggle to fit in what they've got at the moment. The closest we get is a Baba side, which is largely made up of Southern Hemisphere guys. So,
and also,
but it would be great.
By the way, there was a lot of questions just saying, "Do you think Ireland are going to screw the pooch this year?" So if you asked one of those questions, we answered it with Mr. Phil Coffey earlier.
Yeah.
Okay, Sean Friel says, "Great stuff, lads." That's you and me. Thank you, Sean.
Is it Sean S-E-A-N or is it
the Irish way?
Nice. That's my preferred Sean. No offense to people who spell Sean the other way, but one of my best mates in primary school and still my mate now was a Sean S-E-A-N. Scottish mother. So
can I see your best mate and up your father, a dead father? That's my dead father's name.
Also S-E-A-N.
Yes,
nice.
Absolutely.
There we go.
100%. Great stuff, lads. Sean Friel. He's not my dad. That's good. Will you set up live podcasts for the World Cup? It would be great crack.
I never used to know what crack was. There's a few words that I've kind of learned in the old YouTubing days. Yeah. Crack is one of them. I had to
you smoke it in a pipe.
I had to Google that one. That's not the crack I was thinking of.
Yeah, right.
Also a few Afrikaans words. Like I never knew what. Liquor and kak.
Kak is a shit.
It is.
Yeah. I got a steaming cock brewing.
Yeah. There's probably a few more, but those are the ones off the top of my head. I see every now and again number plates with K-A-K.
I always thought crack was spelled
C-R-A-I-C.
Yeah, he's just spelled like crack as I'm going to step in a crack.
Oh. That's not my kind of crack.
Anyway, will we do live podcasts? We probably will do some live views. We'll
find
games.
A game which is at a reasonable hour.
Yeah, exactly.
It'll probably be in the morning. They're all pretty horrendous. Either midnight or like 8 a.m.
We might just have to suck it up and you can come over in your PJs.
Okay.
That'll be fun.
I don't actually have pajamas.
Oh, naked then.
Tilt the camera up a little bit.
Exactly. Just like, cocks out.
Caitlin Doris.
Like something's peeking into camera. Okay. Thank you, Sean. But yeah, we thanks for the compliment as well. Oh God, how am I? You try and read this one. You've got glasses on.
Okay. Which one am I doing?
Look at the size of. Why did I do this?
That's from Jaden Campbell. If next week's question week, here is mine. If you were in control of New Zealand rugby, what changes would you make to ensure the future generations remain interested in rugby as a spectator sport? Showing more free-to-air games is an obvious choice, but I'm keen for other ideas. That's the first question.
What's the second question? Because that's a big...
Second question is about the UFC. If you were forced to have a UFC, I guess, fight with any current All Black, who would be your first and last choice of opponents?
Oh...
You got to go with one of the halfbacks, probably. I'm 6'4", so I'd probably have the reach to kind of jab the shit out of one of them and run away as best as I can. But those guys have got lots of energy. Maybe I could run away from a prop for probably quite a while.
I think literally every professional athlete who plays rugby
would destroy me within 20 seconds.
You up.
Basically.
And me too, by the way. I'm not just saying yeah. But if I had to fight somebody, I would fight Kaputso.
Kaputso?
Yeah.
You did that on purpose?
Kaputso, just because I think I've got a good 30 years and I might hopefully have a little... He just seems so...
If you grabbed him and just kind of flopped on him, you might be able to pin him down.
Maybe. Yeah. Just seems like the smallest, slightest.
Yeah.
Like he'd be a lot quicker and he'd still probably absolutely smash.
Did he say All Blacks or did he say any international player?
Have a UFC. We both have to join the UFC too.
Because if it's All Blacks...
Well, it's an All Blacks. So, sorry. I need a couple what sort of change. Past or present?
No, I think just...
Current. Damn it, I was about to say Terry Wright. Current All Blacks, they're all quite intimidating.
Aaron Smith's not that big. He's getting old as well.
Yeah, that's not a bad shout.
And he seems to kind of like... He's quite into his appearance, so he just doesn't seem as...
Okay,
but he would still me up, honestly.
Yeah. And
who would I not want to fight? I mean, some of those guys seem pretty angry. Akira Ioane seems pretty angry.
That's a very good one. I wouldn't want to fight Adi Severe.
Yeah,
he'd be ferocious.
Dane Coles is a bit of a grub. He'd get you below the belt.
He'd grab your testicles.
Yeah, he would.
Although you can't do that in the UFC. He'd get a point deducted. So there you go. You might be in the chance for the fight itself.
Okay. Oh, Samasoni Tokyo, he's a big unit.
Yeah.
If he did ground and pound, you'd be gone.
Yeah, that would be an awful situation.
Yeah.
Basically, anyone in the front five or anyone in the forwards is horrible. Anyone that centres is they're all tough.
They're all big human beings, man. I do not want to fight any. I don't want to fight.
I'm gonna say if I had to fight one of them would be he's not even current All Black. I was about to say D-Mac.
Oh, yeah.
He's current enough.
He's got a smile. He likes his teeth.
Yeah, he's a bit of a pretty boy.
Yeah, exactly. He
wants to get hit.
Yeah.
He probably still got some gas.
Yeah.
I think he would my shit up.
There's no right answer to that question. They're all equally bad.
Yeah,
options.
Exactly. Okay.
What was the first question? About New Zealand rugby?
I don't think we can tackle that. I think that's... What would we do to fix New Zealand rugby? If I was appointed CEO, the first thing I would do would be step down as CEO. That would be my first move, and then move to another country and forget it ever happened.
There's lots of things that need fixing, man. I mean, getting the grassroots right is probably the fundamental thing with every rugby union, to be honest. Because if you don't have people engaged at grassroots level, you don't have the future. So I think that's the key one. A stadium experience in New Zealand, I think, kind of sucks. I think they could do a lot better job with getting people engaged at the ground.
I love Eden Park. It's a special place, right? But it's a crappy place to go watch rugby.
Especially for, All Blacks games it's good, but for Super Rugby games it's pretty stink.
When you go to the Cape Town, it's great because you go, you preload.
It's an oval. He's so far from the game. Hamilton.
No, but I just mean just in terms of game.
Right, where it's located.
Jeez, by the time I get to the game, I'm like 8 beers cut and I'm just trying to fucking line up for the toilets.
Yeah.
But like in terms of like being at the stadium, having a good time, then straight back out at the bars, catching up with people.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, the closest place is Kingsland, and Kingsland's, still a bit of a trek away in town. Like, that central city, that waterfront stadium would have been...
You're coming at this from a very Auckland perspective.
Well, the national stadium, isn't it? Really?
And that's not grassroots. That's not... Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of things, like we mentioned, but, I mean... getting the engagement. I think they could learn a lot from sports like the UFC, which does really good work with the personalities. Even Rugby League does really good pieces about who are these players? Why do they want to play for this club? Why do they hate that team? Like, why do the Blues want to go and up the Crusaders? That's a cool storyline, but they keep everything very bland.
Yeah.
And I think
it's
rugby...
it's very beige. It's very about rugby values, very about Kiwi rugby values.
They need to... I mean, this may sound simple, but they need to lower the bar a little bit.
Take it to the mattresses.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, other sports do it really well.
Yeah. But the thing is, they're not taking it to the gutter. They're just being a little bit more genuine. Because there are players out there who don't like each other.
That's right.
There are teams that freaking
play that up. That's the thing.
Exactly.
The whole Auckland Canterbury thing growing up was huge.
100%.
Yeah, it's been a bit. Yeah, like you said, it's bland.
Yeah, so. I miss like how much they hated Carlos. You know.
Yeah, that's that's always a great storyline. So I mean, Andrew Mertz used to do it with the South African fans, like that kind of thing. Just that's engagement. So I think that part of the game suffers because they don't want to offend anybody. They want everything to be family friendly. Like the Sevens was kind of killed when they tried to make it a family friendly event.
And that was one of the best Sevens events in the world.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I think they've made some kind of poor decisions in that regard.
All right, well, I feel like we solved all New Zealand's rugby's problems there, so you're welcome, everybody. Scran, the person's called Scran. One of his mum and dad called him Scran, apparently. My question, which player, past or present, would you most want to have a pint with? Cheers, boys.
Ooh, who would be someone cool to have a pint with?
I'm Richard Lowe, and I'm going hard. Like we're getting on it at like 10 a.m.
Right.
We're fully going to get up to some mischief.
Right.
It's going to be a big Mad Monday. You know, it's a full on day. You know, no cameras, no phones allowed. Let's go for it, Richard.
Okay.
Me and Lowie having a good time, I'd say. But did I not think about that long enough? Was that a little...
You just thought, who would you like to get drunk with? Basically, ask him about fight stories and what did you actually get up to that wasn't caught on camera.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's a real tough one, eh? I mean,
I didn't find it that tough.
Okay.
Yeah.
Beastie Boy is one of my favourites, man. I love seeing interviews with the Beast. He seems like a real cool dude. I would love to have a chat with that guy.
Yeah. So
I reckon he'd have a few quiet ones as well.
Yeah, you reckon? Put a few away. Yeah, he would have the space to put it away. Okay, well, you had a very respectful answer. I had just like, who could I be the lowest common denominator with?
There you go.
Yeah, that's the difference between the two of us. J.K. Jerome.
Okay.
Is the person asking the next question. Question for next week. Oh, here we go. This is a good one.
Okay.
Do you think Volkanovski was robbed?
Well, Tony, in his determination to get me into the old UFC, he showed me.
I did
that fight after we finished recording the potty, and
you didn't watch much of it.
We watched the first 2 rounds.
The cyclone was saying it was still going, and you
had to roll. I had to skedaddle, but I don't think he was robbed. I think it was a close one. I think the fact that if it had been a split decision, I think that would have made my kind of heart more. One of the judges had it like clearly to who's the other dude?
It was Islam Makhachev.
That's right. I don't think it was that clear cut.
Then we're switching roles. I meant to ask you names.
Yeah. From a guy who doesn't really watch much UFC, just my gut feeling was that like it was.
I'd love to say you're totally wrong, Mark. You're talking absolute shit, but that's pretty bang on the money. When I was watching it live, I was fully invested, really, really wanting Volko to win.
Yeah.
And really, really back his skills, and it was razor thin. It was razor thin.
Right.
So it's one of those fights that could go either way, and when it doesn't go your way, you can feel like disappointed and kind of gutted and been like a little bit remorseful about the fact that it didn't go your way when it really could have. But it didn't go his way, but you can't call it a robbery.
Yeah.
You can't call it a robbery, but you can just only take your hands off to Volk.
He gave it a good effort, man.
Still pound for pound number 1. After that fight,
really,
the Dagestani Islam Makhachev is still number 2.
Wow.
Because the whole thing about pound for pound is this sort of fantastical sort of situation. If everybody was the same way, so he was coming up a weight class and had a razor thin fight with the lightweight champ when he was featherweight.
Okay.
And it wasn't enough for him to
surpass him. Okay.
Yeah, but then Islam has come out and said this is a conspiracy against Russians. But
interesting. You know the fight sport that I've most followed in recent years.
Please don't say power slap.
Sumo.
Oh,
sumo is really fun to watch.
Really?
Yeah, I can't watch.
Should we have a sumo here?
I can't watch the whole show.
What is
sumo takes fucking hours because there's so much preamble to every fight. And the fights are sometimes 5 seconds, but the amount of time they take to get in the ring and do everything takes hours. So I can't sit there and watch a whole bout, but to watch So
there's like a whole ceremony to it, yeah?
Oh yeah. But it's like there's no weight classes.
Oh really?
Yeah, so some of these guys are just enormous. And they are like kind of pusher thrusters, so they just want to use their weight to shove you. Other guys,
they all look like E Honda.
No, there's just
really?
all kinds of different shapes and sizes.
Different
Some of the guys, for sure.
Really?
All the good guys are Mongolians.
Oh, really?
Yeah. All the top guys are Mongolians.
Name 3 sumos.
Hakuho was like the Crusaders of sumo, but he retired kind of end of last year.
What a legacy he leaves.
Tiron of Fuji is the
Fuji.
He's another Mongolian. Hakuho was Mongolian as well.
Yeah.
He's the only current Yokozuna, which is like the ultimate kind of
ultimate master
elite rank sumo. There's other guys like Takeyasu.
Takeyasu! I knew he would be a great sumo.
Yeah,
I can't believe he's got time to be the All Black
honestly,
Hawker.
it's quite.
You're actually really buzzing about it.
Honestly, it's like there's pusher thrusters. There's guys who like to get in on the old mawashi, the belt. They want to grab your belt and like flip you. There's this one guy, Tochinoshin. He's this big. Where's he from? Bulgaria. He's Eastern European, and all he does is basically grab your belt, and he's just got huge. He just lifts guys up and walks them out of the ring and just drops them out. But he's got no skills anywhere else. So
I want to talk about sumo for the next hour now.
It's fascinating.
I kind of do.
Hakuho I saw him in the kind of last year of his career. He was great because he could literally do everything. He could push. He could grab your belt. He was just like, for a big, looking like a fat guy, but I mean, he's all muscle.
They're all kind of fat.
Yeah, like he was just so nimble. Like, once in a generation talent, man. Honestly, sumo.
Sumo, that's where it's at,
Some
people.
Sumo, yeah, it's fun. And they don't allow the guys to recover from injury, man.
Oh, really?
Yeah. If you get injured, you're expected to keep fighting. Otherwise, it's an automatic forfeit because you have to have a match every day for like 15 days or whatever the competition is.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So if you like break an arm or something, the guys go out.
You keep, every match is a forfeit, and you keep losing.
But if they do they get wild guys who go, oh, broken arm?
I mean, some of them will come out with their legs strapped and shit, and they shouldn't be there.
Because when they fall, there's a huge amount of weight falling. Mm-hmm. What kind of weights are we talking here?
Oh, massive! These guys are enormous.
Yeah,
hundreds of kilos. Some of them, but no. Some of them are really light and nimble. And
let us know in the comments below if you just want us to turn it into
the ultimate shit move you can do in sumo, like the ultimate like dirtbag move you can do. I forget the name of it.
The USM.
Ultimate shit move. There you go. Is basically, especially if you've got a really big fat guy, because at the start of the sumo, they both just basically usually run at each other. Shoot! What you do is you just dodge. You just dodge. You just get out of the way, and the other guy just goes bam out of the ring. It's seen as like the ultimate kind of douchebag move to do.
So it's like the man-cad.
Yeah, it's like the man-cad of sumo. Wow. Everyone looks at you like, you dirty and if you
dirty rat.
If you do it and the other guy doesn't go out of the ring, you're in trouble. He's gonna be mad.
Around, he goes.
I love sumo. Oh, that was a bit of a tangent. It's
usually
you with the tangent.
Yeah, exactly. That was a great tangent. I loved it.
Sumo.
Sumo is where it's at. Okay, well, I don't think it was a robbery, but it was.
Sorry,
it was tough.
I'm not usually. Hey
lads, it's a Scottish chat. It's lovely to hear some positive outside voices. It's one of these tiny ones here.
Right.
For quite a while, it's felt that our team has been internally overhyped.
Right.
You read the rest of this one.
This is the bottom one.
Yeah. Internally over. I'm going to grab a beer.
Internally overhyped and has resulted in some gentle mocking from outside voices. My question is, what are your views on Stuart Hogg, arguably a key man in the progression of this Scotland side, but still feels like he should have been a bigger world star? Stuart Hogg, if I was to channel my father, I would say he loves himself. He loves himself a wee bit. Like he was doing the whole.
That's okay.
He's
it's okay to love yourself.
He's had the whole hair replacement thing.
Oh.
He dyes. He sends the
advanced hair.
Yeah. And like when he was captain and when they gave the captaincy to somebody else, he put out kind of one of those double-edged sword, post on social media saying like, "Oh yeah, congratulations, but this kind of sucks, and I should have still been the captain." Like not quite, that direct, but you can read between the lines. So I think Stuart Hogg thinks he's pretty good. Stuart Hogg's a really good player,
but this guy's saying that he's like
could have been,
one of like Dan Carter-esque or something.
Yeah,
like
maybe.
Sort of suggesting.
There have been a few moments when you see Stuart Hogg do something where he just kind of has a brain fart. Like I remember once when Scotland were really hyped up to go to Ireland and get a win, and they just managed to kind of shit the bed once again. Like he dropped the ball over the line. Just kind of one of those moments.
From what I've seen of him, which is nowhere near as much as you have, he seems like a very classy player.
Oh, for sure.
He's like a player who has a lot of time on the ball.
Big old boot.
Yeah, really big boot. Does the fundamentals pretty soundly. But the only question I would have is where's the balance of that back three in the Scottish team with Stain, who's a very very quality player and who's like a all wingers winger, and then you got Duhan, who is in Scotland and is one of the most exciting players in the world right now, and could have one of the biggest years of any player in rugby history if he goes on with this sort of form. And then you've got Kinghorn. So those are three very and Kinghorn looked absolute
class
dynamite when he came on. Had just quite explosive pace. It took the ball at speed and was very incisive and like high knees. He runs real high knees and sees and like him and Duhan working in tandem of a couple of those tries. One of those tries in particular I'm thinking about. Very, very hard to stop for any team in the world. This is what I'm saying. Scotland should be excited. And then you got Hogg, who's a guy who is classy, so... But is he as big a star as he should be? I don't know. I don't know, but I don't know where he even fits in right now. I mean, obviously he's in the mix.
Yeah. He's right up there. I mean, I think he's probably not quite as consistent as some of the other guys, but when he's on his best, he's one of the best in the world.
Were we saying these guys' names, by the way?
Oh, did you say that guy's name? No.
Sorry, man. What was his name? His name is JMN in football. Nice. Thank you, JMN football.
Cheers.
Thanks, buddy. Did we say the last guy? Yeah, JKA Jerome. I did say that.
Nice.
Say that. Okay, well, I think we gave him I was about to say an answer, at least. Okay. Hold on. I'm having some paper drama here. We're on the final page, everybody. We made it. Oh, here we go. Oh, this guy, this guy here is a mate of Rian Lu.
Oh,
yeah, I see him.
Rugby.
I see him commenting on his things all the time. Question.
It's a question.
There's a couple of questions here.
Who's the guy?
Who usually buys the drinks was the question.
Who's the guy?
I gave him a big bill and I didn't even say his name. And everyone should go check out his channel actually because I have it and it's really cool. I subscribed. It's Villa Farrell stop motion.
Oh, nice.
He does stop motion like really cool kind of retro feeling stop motion like Star Wars stuff.
Oh,
and
cool.
it's really kind of funky.
Nice.
Look at that. You can see it there.
Yeah.
There's a clip of it. It wouldn't be a real if he like copyrighted us. It's like no, it's not. Yeah. Question: who usually buys the drinks? Is number one. He's got two questions.
Okay.
And then question two: Tony is easily distracted by Mark's hairy McMassive legs. McMassive, like somehow they're a product of McDonald's. What is Mark distracted by? Thanks, guys. Always enjoy your chatter and musings.
Well, I think we know that I am distracted by sumo. That's become very much apparent.
Wow.
Speaking of big sweaty legs, and if you watch the old sumo, you'll see some big sweaty asses as well, because those mawashis don't cover the backside.
No, they don't.
So,
okay, stop with the sumo joke.
Okay. Who buys the drinks? Well, here's the way this podcast works. I drive here from my home, and if you can think of pretty much anything else, be it the recording, the editing, the drink buying, it's this guy. So that's the way this works.
Happily.
Yes.
It's the way it works, and it seems to work. Okay, and but so you're distracted by sumo?
Apparently.
Anything else you're distracted by? Apparently I'm distracted by your legs. I can't stop looking at them.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Anything else you could be distracted by? Well, that's the whole kind of thing. You're distracted by the weird shit that I say.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, this guy.
There you go. Thank you, Villa Farrell, Stop Motion. Go check out his channel, subscribe, like. Let's get him to 1 million subs, everybody. If he gets 3 subs off this video, that's a job done. That's great. Oh, God. Max Weeks is this guy. I'm actually more of a fan of Min Months. Yeah. It's one of these super small ones again. I'm going to have to give it to you.
How's it the guy with the glasses is reading this?
Because you've got the glasses.
Hey guys, I look forward to this podcast more than any other rugby content after the game. So that's awesome.
Thanks, man.
That's the feels. That's the feels. I love that. I have a question. Current players, Northern versus Southern Hemisphere, what team would win? Okay, I'm assuming that's if you picked all Southern 15 or Northern
it's almost
15.
like the same question, but it's
on the
like
same note, retired players, North versus South, who would win? I mean, historically, the South, World Cups has had the edge over the North, so I'm going to lean that way with retired. But if I was going to go current balance of power, you couldn't.
Current balance of power, I would give it to the Northern Hemisphere. Historically, you can't argue with 9 World Cups. Well, no, 8 World Cups versus 1. So I think, and to be fair, like you very much see a Southern Hemisphere team picking it up this year as well.
Yeah, for sure. If you picked a Northern versus Southern team, it's a flip of a coin, isn't it? Really, both sides are going to be phenomenal.
We could go deep into the nuts of it. And you'd have to get out all the stats of all the players.
Yeah, who's going to be the best halfback? Who's the best?
You collate all your depth charts, and you could. So give us 5 minutes. We'll go through all Mark's stats, and we'll get back to you. But I think, but just a gut feel right now, I'd give it to the Northern Hemisphere. Yeah.
Novmum is one of the OGs on the 2 Cents channel. She's been around for ages. She commented
on this is on my channel.
Fantastic.
Good on you, Novmum.
She's down in Hamilton.
If those of you who are watching this on Mark's channel, there's another channel.
Yeah, we put last week's episode on there.
So this is how it works. His channel one week, my channel the next week. Yeah. I think that was one of the questions I didn't actually put in there.
Could you create a new channel?
And it's like...
creating new channels on YouTube kind of sucks.
Yeah, well no, it doesn't... If you have enough clout to get it going, it's okay. But the biggest thing about a YouTube channel is actually the hardest bit is actually...
the initial period. Getting the algo to be like, you're okay.
Ignition charge. Like, do an experiment, guys, out there. If you have never done a channel, you've never had a channel before, you've never uploaded a video, but you've got an account, film yourself doing something like, I don't know, building a fence or something.
Upload it and watch you get no views.
You will get maybe 2 views or something, and that's yourself checking that it's up, and then you call someone and say, is this, can you see this? And that's basically how it works. So it takes a bit of warming up.
It's a bit of a beast. Is Pool B now the pool of death because it's got South Africa, Ireland, and Scotland in it?
That's a very good point. Yeah, Scotland are my sneaky at the moment. Like, I have made this bloody video about them, haven't I?
Well, prior to the Six Nations, I think Scotland were kind of relatively written off in that pool. You've got South Africa and Ireland, so you're not going to make it.
Yeah.
But not anymore, surely.
They could pick up a win against one of those teams.
All they need is to get one.
Those are huge games. It's a little bit like the Football World Cup where all the pool games are bloody huge, you know? You know, I think they've definitely got a decent chance of getting out. They got the worst chance of those 3 teams.
But if they got out, it wouldn't be surprised, not really anybody. It wouldn't be...
Oh, wouldn't that sting for Ireland if they were the ones who didn't actually...
Didn't go out in the quarterfinal, went out in the pool stages.
Oh, that would hurt.
Scotland's record against Ireland was terrible, but if they were going to do it, that'd be the time to do it.
Yeah, man, what an upset that would be.
Yeah.
Jeez Louise.
It'll be tasty. It's going to be tasty.
Yeah, that is a tasty.
I mean, I think in terms of like the highest ranked teams all in one pool, that's the pool of death because that's teams 1, 4, and 5.
1, 4, and 5.
Yeah, so it is the pool of death.
And 4 could easily be 3.
Yeah.
What they're like a couple of points.
I think there's a bit of a gap between Scotland and South Africa, but yeah, the other 2 are not that far away.
Fair play for South Africa getting up there, eh? Like, wow, yeah, that's really interesting because we're all just like, oh man, well they're gonna face somebody they're talking about Ireland. They're gonna face somebody in those quarterfinal games. She's gonna be a fair old challenge coming from. I just look at the players in Scotland, and Scotland have got it's a quality outfit.
It is, yeah. And they're finally playing to their potential.
Wow.
Connor Smith.
Hello, Connor.
Says, if you had to sleep with an All Black, who and why? This is an easy question for me. Super, super easy.
An All Black, it's not Caitlin Doris. What do you mean it's so easy for you?
It's so easy.
Who would you sleep with? Are you going...
Aaron Smith.
Why Aaron Smith?
I doesn't have to have sex with him, just got to sleep with him.
No, you got to f*** him. Come on, come on, dude.
No.
No, he's talking about... Come on, take it in the spirit the question was given. No, you've got to f*** All Black, okay? You've got to f*** an All Black, okay? That's what the question is. He's not asking you about who you would like go top and tail with.
Well, it's not going to be Sam Whitelock because I don't want to spoon anybody.
Imagine the cock on that, man.
There's no right answer to that question.
Okay. What was the... No, we've got to try and answer it. Gun to the head, that sort of situation. Okay. You want to go first or should I go first?
Go on then, you go.
What's the name of the guy who came out?
Oh, I can't remember. The prop. Yeah. That
guy and his name. Yeah. He was not a very well known All Black.
Yeah.
You can tell.
Single digit caps.
Yeah. But it would, because I knew this question was coming.
Okay.
Because I already had I should have looked up his name maybe.
Yeah.
But then I was thinking to myself, being like, would it be worth? Because I was thinking it would be okay if it was him, because I wouldn't as long as he was consensual.
He may not be. Look at you, fuck now. He got standards.
He's got the most chance of being consensual.
Yeah.
Okay, and but then I was like. Then and it would be okay, but then I'd be like, then I was like, then he could potentially enjoy it. Would that be worse? Or would it be better with someone?
You've given this far too much thought for a throwaway.
But yeah, I'd say the bloke who's already gay.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, okay.
Go with that.
And what about you, pal?
I'll just go with that. That's it.
No, come on! You have to come up with a reason, contextualize it, give us some meat on it. That's what the people want. I can see them out there going, "Come on, Mark."
Who's the least hairy All Black?
D-Mac.
Okay, D-Mac. There you go. My wife quite likes D-Mac. So
all right,
there you go.
You can have your wicked way with him, and then your wife could.
This is going on my channel. This should go on your channel. Eric Davidson. Sorry, not Davidson. Could any national coach lose his job or resign before the World Cup? Jeez, there's been so many.
Yeah, it's been a revolving door.
Surely we're done. I think we're done with coaches being replaced. There's a moth flying around. Look at that thing. Go moth, go.
I went to Bad Religion the other night. Do you know Bad Religion?
I don't know what that is.
It's a punk band.
Okay.
Sorry, I don't know why the moth reminded me of Bad Religion.
Any coaches going to lose their job?
All of a sudden, I was like, why was there a question about a moth?
Greco Townsend's not going to lose his job. Fabian Galtier's not going to lose his job. I don't think so. Eddie Jones has only just been appointed. I think we're safe. I think that's it.
Never say never.
Unless it's one of the teams who are like, one of the lower ranked
Chile
teams.
or Georgia. Yeah. Chile's, they had an incredible run to get
there.
in,
Exactly. So I think
unlikely. But if Gats doesn't get a win before the World Cup,
they're not going to sack. He's on a £2 million contract. They got no money as it is.
Oh jeez.
Yeah.
Rough deal for those guys.
There you go. There's only one more question.
All right, one more question.
It's a long one, so you can read that one.
Okay, Sogo Fagomalo.
Another one of the OGs, been around for a long time.
Is that his name? So'o Fagomalo. Am I can say Fagomalo?
Yeah, So'o Fagomalo.
So'o Fagomalo. The worst thing about this podcast is I cannot listen to these in public anymore. I end up cracking up and guffawing at the stuff you guys talk about. Ha ha!
Like that question, go.
What is I like a guffaw.
Guffaw. I don't think I ever used the word guffaw in conversation.
Thank you, So that's a very nice thing to say. Gents, please keep up the great work. This is one of my favourite podcasts to listen to, and look forward to them every week. Thank you, So. Very kind of you. But his question was, what is your favourite rugby memory? Could be a game, a try, meeting a rugby legend, etc. Anything else? Oh, can I have two?
Yeah, go on.
So, favourite rugby moment. One of my very first videos was actually about it. Was the moment that Carlos Spencer through an absolutely
Oh,
day, like a Cruise the
game.
Crusaders, maybe 2004, something like that.
Yep.
They were pinned on the line. They were only up by 1 point. He just needed, and there was still like 30 seconds to play or something, or actually a minute to play or something like that.
Own goal line.
Yeah, own goal line. He throws this wild looping pass. Check out the video.
Mm-hmm.
There's a card to it because Mark, you've done a card for me again. Thanks, pal. 2 in one video. That's great. All these beeps. That's what this come around to.
Okay.
He does this incredible rainbow pass like right in front of the goalpost. Rokethoko takes it. Lots of things happen. He ends up with it bursting down the field. He's in the clear. He's going to score it, but he walks it round. Yeah. Walks around to the corner and he gets Tuitupo, Rokethoko, Doug Hallett. They all sort of flank him. Yeah. And he puts it down and he flips the bird to the Canterbury Crowning. Yeah.
When he's not even like the most
it's gorgeous rugby. It's amazing stuff. That's probably as satisfying. And then I've met a few rugby players, but one moment I can think of, I was working on the New Zealand Apprentice, the first season of the New Zealand Apprentice, and we were shooting in a hotel that was in a penthouse. And then I had to go up and down the lifts all the time.
Someone asked you if you had to sleep with an old man.
And this is how it happened. So we're going up and down the lifts constantly, and I remember I was just in there. I was like tired. It was like I don't know. I was always tired, but I got in there and I just let a ripper of a fart go, like really, and I was like, she's wafty. And then it opens up on a different floor, and who comes walking through into all my podcast? Smoking Joe Stanley. He walks in, and I'm an honest guy, so I said, "I'm sorry, I just did a massive fart." I'm sorry, and he was like, "It happens." Yeah.
He's cool about it.
Yeah, he was cool about it. He was like, "Yeah,
nice."
Yeah, old Smoking Joe Stanley.
Nice. 2011 World Cup. I certainly remember that one, but I wouldn't say I enjoyed that. That one was more like relief, but
yeah, that was a weird buzz.
I remember watching.
Where were you watching it?
In a bar in Wuhan, China, with my Australian rugby league friend, smoking lots of cigarettes because I just had to get through that.
Smashing the darts.
Yeah, basically. But I mean, for ones I enjoyed, 2015 World Cup final. I was watching that with my old man. That one was a great one. And then I was texting my Aussie mate who was watching it in Australia at the same time. He was down in the dumps, and they started to come back, and it was just a great watch. So that one, just
one of probably for the men's World Cup, that was probably the best game I've had.
Yeah, it was phenomenal. And then, I guess meeting the player. Like I met Gary Wetton as a child, and he was just really cool. Like he signed some shit for me, and I don't know, just like Did
you fart in front of him?
Didn't fart in front of him. No, but I remember like Zinzan Brooke would never do that kind of stuff. He was another one of the big names. Like my brother had like an autograph book. You used to be able to run onto the field after the games, and you used to be able to chase the players down. Zinzan would never do that. He would just gap it as fast as he could. My brother kind of hated him for it because my brother got quite close to Zinny and nope.
Oh, really?
Gary Wetton. It was like some signing event. I vaguely remember it as a child. But I just remember him being real patient and real...
That's good.
Yeah, just real cool about it. Like, as a kid, like, that's the kind of stuff, as a kid,
means a lot to you.
You have that experience as a kid, you get connected with the team, you get connected with the game.
I remember being a young man going to Oniwa Domain, would have been 10, 11, 12, something like that, and like trying to get autographs. It was the era of like Glenn Osborne, Eric Rush, Frank Barnes, Walter Little, greats of. Exactly. And I remember going into the sheds after the game, not invited by the way. I just walked in. Nice. I just like the ticket below was like there's a door open. I walked in there, and then I was walking around the sheds, and it was like 10. It was just like naked, massive men walking around, and I was just asking for autographs, and they were like. Okay, right. And I remember, do you know Slade McFarlane by any chance?
The name sounds familiar.
He was a prop, a bit of a cult hero in North Harbour, and there was a McDonald's across the road. He had 3 Big Macs next to him, so I was like, what a stud. Yeah, and then I think Walter Little. Yeah, I think he was having that was a small memory of him having a cheeky dart.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's that sort of era. There would have been like 90. maybe 96,
Okay.
something like that.
Yeah.
No, maybe 96, 90, somewhere between 94 and 96,
Yeah,
maybe.
yeah.
Yeah.
I do feel that level of engagement has been, obviously you can't walk into the changing rooms, you can't even go on the field these days. You know what
By
I
the
mean?
way, I think I was just being ballsy,
Right.
a ballsy little shit.
Nice.
Just kind of went in there.
Nice, but that level of, once I went to a Super Rugby game in the last couple of years, they allowed us onto the field after the game and it was seen as a big whoa.
Yeah.
And all the players stayed out and engaged with the kids, and honestly, that's the kind of stuff that takes a kid who's just been dragged along by their dad to make them a lifelong fan of the game.
Well, I remember I've gone to a couple of games at the MCG, and like I remember going when I was like 16 or something like that. I went with my uncle and my dad and stuff, and it was Essendon versus Freo or something like that. And at the end of the game, it was just like a done thing. They open it up, and everyone brings balls,
Right?
and they go out in the game. They go out on the thing, and everyone has a kickabout.
Yeah, exactly.
And you get a chance to score a goal at the MCG, which, you know, for me was just cool because it was a massive stadium. But for these kids who have grown up loving AFL their entire lives, it's incredible.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you're on the and it's no big drama or anything like that. People don't stick around forever. Like you leave within about half an hour, 45 minutes, and but it would be lovely to have more of that sort of stuff.
That's every childhood memory I have, because my dad took me to so many games. All the stuff I remember is not. I don't remember any like that was a great try, great tackle. I don't remember any of that crap as a kid, because as a kid I was probably running around playing with other kids. As a really young kid, maybe you were watching the game a bit more than me, but.
What do I remember tries? I remember tries from 94.
Okay, so when you were almost 10, 11 kind of thing.
Yeah.
And most of the stuff I remember is like meeting the players, and just, I don't know, like all the non-necessarily like actual rugby stuff. Like I remember just mucking around with other kids and taking a ball to the ground and chucking it around. Eden Park's got a number 2 field, so you'd go in the number 2 field and have a play around. Like your parents didn't care.
Yeah, exactly.
Your parents just let you have a run around, so... Yeah,
times.
I feel like that's the stuff that had me kind of getting the positive vibes for the game.
Memories.
Whereas my dad would be like,
all alone in the moonlight.
Bugger off, and I'll watch the game, you know what I mean? So
very nice. Well, that was a lovely little nostalgic feel. Like, by the way, when we record these, we never have any idea how long they've gone for.
Yeah.
So we aim for about an hour. And then sometimes we get off these and then we go,
holy shit, it's gone an hour and a half.
Yeah, and then I cut a little bit out.
Yeah, you do. You and your editing abilities.
Thanks, man. I'm glad I've got a little bit. Haven't done enough editing in the last couple of days.
Flex.
But thank you all so much for listening. Once again, thank you very much.
We genuinely love that feedback, man.
It's awesome.
Phenomenal.
Yeah, I feel like
it seems like you can say that as just kind of a polite response, but no, it's genuinely
100%.
awesome to see.
100%, because like you're watching us on a screen anywhere in the world, but very, very easily any of you could be in this room with us and you would just shooting the shit. 100%. It's just it's just the way people talk, you know. So we're glad that you enjoy it. If you do enjoy it, and if you don't enjoy it, then
you're probably not listening, especially not by 1 hour or whatever it is into the podcast.
100%. All right, well, it's another podcast. Well done. Where can you listen?
Spotify.
You've got to shake my hand again.
Spotify. I just can't get enough. It's that question that had me vibing.
I don't know if you're turned on more about
Kaylin Doris.
Who you sleep with or Kaylin Doris.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what I'm going to call this.
Spotify, Google Podcasts.
Stitcher, iHeartRadio, basically anywhere you get your podcasts, you can find us.
And Super Rugby this weekend, Six Nations this weekend, MLR this weekend.
I'm so psyched about the MLR.
I know, that's the one thing. If you're going to watch one thing this weekend, it's probably the MLR.
It's going to be the handjackers.
They've broken attendance record, the best ever attendance.
6 people turned up.
The San Diego Legion had over like 11,000 people attend
wow.
their game, which is bigger than some Super Rugby crowds.
Yeah, that's true.
So, well done, people in San Diego.
Fantastic San Diego.
That's Martin on his team.
All right. Martin's still pulling the crowds.
Still is.
All right, there you go. You can hear the music. You hear the music? No, it's you're silly because you can hear it. All right, thank you so much, everybody. Take it easy out there.